welcome to June. In case any of the 12 of you subscribed were wondering, I am not, in fact, dead. But rather, I have been on hiatus since, I don't know, sometime in March, and am also lazy. Which is why I have been absent since whenever I posted that Murder Drones video.
But now it is June, and what better time than June to talk about a month that isn't June? Specifically July, a month for summer vacations, pool and beach trips, and the US shooting colorful explosives into the air to celebrate our decision to break away from an empire, the remains of which barely remembers we were a part of said empire. It is also the month of Artfight, which brings us to the point of this video. In case you don't know and are interested, Artfight is a competition held every July where two teams fight each other by drawing art for the other team or their own team's characters. Which is all fine and dandy, but there's one thing you kind of need to participate: OCs. Which I have, but unfortunately I have this issue where my character-making storytelling side is like a hyperactive chipmunk hooked on Monster Energy drinks. And the drawing side of me is more like a depressed walrus with ADHD, which is to say I have a lot of characters and not a lot of art for them. So this video, as you've probably already surmised based on its title, is gonna be about me making character ref sheets for Artfight. So here is the first character sheet. There is no color, for I have removed the color and have already edited the sheet. You'll have to pardon the white noise because it is summer outside, and that means suffering, and I don't want suffering outside to become suffering inside, so the white noise shall remain and we can call it Kevin. I have already made my edits to this particular character sheet, and did record them, but using a different recording device that made the fan in question, Kevin, sound like a jet engine anytime I wasn't talking. It became really annoying. So we're using a new one, and she has already been edited other than the coloring, which you do not see, because it will look bad if I turn it on right now. So the main edits were distancing her eyes and making her neck shorter, because elves in my world do not normally supposed to have long necks, so we don't want to give a long neck where a long neck doesn't belong. That is basically it. Honestly, you know, all of your art is going to, like, not look as nice when you're older and more experienced, but, like, I didn't want there to be quite as big a quality gap in my different character sheets between the two I already have and the two I need to make, so now she no longer looks like Sid the Giraffe. So that's good. I will just fix the coloring, which you will not see because coloring is boring and no one will convince me otherwise, and we can just move on to the next character sheet. Okay, to start off, here is a base. I know it looks stupid, but that's what drafts are for. To look stupid. That's their only purpose. I don't know what artists may or may not have been telling you, but they were lying. Stupidity. Okay, this joke is getting old. And here is Tyrannus in her outfit, which is totally Renaissance era accurate, for real trust, and her unnerving lack of expression. With that, I will move on to drawing the back, and then we can move on with the line art. And here's the back! Now on to the fun part. While past me is drawing that, let me share some lore about this character. Tyrannus is a mage, which in this case is just a human who wields magic. In her world, human magic is typically applied through technology and the arts. Tyrannus herself has magic that stems from her ability to dodge and maneuver in combat. She also learns magic through weaving and sewing, but isn't really good at it. Her occupation is that of warden. Creative title, I know. Which means one of three things. You're paid by the government to protect the common folk, you're paid by wealthy patrons to protect them and their estates, or you freelance yourself to anyone who can afford your services. You could also do all three, but Tyrannus mostly does the first of the three. Wardens specifically protect people from magical threats most of the time, and Tyrannus' job specifically includes protecting people from wielders of dark magic, which is the super fun job that no one in civil society likes to talk about because it's the one where you may or may not have to unalive people before they unalive somebody else. She has a soft and sweet personality, but can also be quite chaotic at times. Her biggest flaw is avoiding confrontation in upsetting situations. She's just like me for real. A lot of this is due to wanting her life outside of her job to be as pleasant as possible, and it gets to the point where basically the only person who can tell when she's upset is her husband. She also avoids interacting with people who kind of give her a hard time. Like her parents! Yep, she's got parent problems. Though, she's probably got the weakest parental issues out of the entire main cast. The only person who has a better relationship with his parents than her is Alum, who's practically a side character at this point. So I'm really crunched for time due to the fact that my computer decided I couldn't hack being connected to my tablet while running CSP and my screen recorder, so I had to move my setup to a tablet I'm borrowing from my sisters, and it's probably near the end of June or later that you're seeing this, even though I started working on this back in May. So I'm just going to show you a low-res time-lapse of the other characters while talking about their lore. Moving on! Caitlin is an orphan who leaves the orphanage to study to become a warden. However, the academy she wants to attend doesn't just take random parentless teenagers, no questions asked, but will take random parentless teenagers, no questions asked, if they are under the guardianship of a reputable warden who has graduated from the same said academy. Fortunately, a reputable warden who's graduated near the top of her class with a similar skill set to Kate just so happens to live nearby. Oh, holy convenience! And that warden's name is Tyrannus. Despite being an orphan, where the common practice in an orphanage is to teach kids how to do basic chores, Kate isn't all that great with housework. Like, wildly not great. She also occasions to lean into a more extensive vocabulary than an orphan would normally have. This is brow-raising for Tyrannus, but most other people don't really notice. Kate is very emotional. She can be incredibly headstrong and practically manic sometimes, but she's also a bit of a crybaby. She struggles with appreciating things she has before they're gone, but she also has standards and won't take crap from others. Her reasons for wanting to be a warden are mostly because she's only really good at two things, fighting and dancing, which, with enough imagination, are practically the same thing. There's a slight twist to her story, but I'll save discussing that for another time. Gale is Tyrannus' husband. He is an elf, which is awkward, because their story takes place when the Fae and humans in their country are at odds, and getting married to a human as an elf, or vice versa, is anywhere from socially inappropriate to illegal. Their relationship is sort of a forbidden love scenario, but if you skip all the we can't be together drama, and the two of them just get married anyway because they don't give a flip. He works under the Queen of the Elves, which came as a result of him seeking asylum with the Fae, as he did not originally grow up with either humans or the Fae, to escape his dad, who is, dragon? Half-dragon? I hadn't decided how dragon his dad is. Anyway, the cost of granting safety was that he was pseudo-indentured to the Queen. Technically, he can leave at any time, as he doesn't really need their protection anymore. But he stays, keeping his marriage a secret, so he can use his connections to the forests of the Fae, and he and Tyrannus can figure out a way to sort of get rid of his dad, because they don't want their future children to meet their psychotic grandpa. He has a soft, pleasant demeanor like his wife, but without much of a chaotic side, and is decidedly introverted, where Tyrannus is more of an ambivert. His biggest flaw is probably that he's kind of a people pleaser. His greatest struggles is when he's faced with a social situation that he can't deal with without upsetting other people. Which is what I would say if I hadn't just reworked his entire personality to be the practical opposite of the aforementioned description halfway through writing the script. Yeah, these characters are pretty fresh for me, which means their personalities are extremely loose and can change at any moment. Gale is very sweet to Tyrannus and friends of either his or hers, and is also much more introverted than his wife, and definitely can be diplomatic, though you can still tell when he doesn't like you. But where Tyrannus struggles way more with extreme confrontation and the reality that sometimes protecting people includes dispatching dangerous individuals, Gale has way less of an issue with even violent confrontation. He does struggle with not wanting to be cruel like his father, but you can tick him off, and you will know if you do. It makes for an interesting relationship between him and Isilt, since they have very similar personalities, but don't really like each other all that much. Random note before starting, but I looked up a pronunciation for his name, and it's basically Alan, but with more of an ich noise than an ah noise. But it's basically just gonna sound like his name is Alan. So anyway. If drawing Gale was a pain in the butt, this guy is worse. My experience drawing him is sort of like those moments that some people have where you find yourself attracted to your own character. But instead of being attracted, I'm just bargaining with the canvas that my attempts to make him look visually appealing don't turn out uncanny. I guess I'll talk about both Alan and Isilt, since I haven't gotten to talk about her yet. Also, her name was originally Rhinal, but I couldn't get over how it sounded like something you'd get at the pharmacy, so I changed it to Isilt halfway through doing these character sheets. Both Alan and Isilt rule the Fae, Isilt as Queen of the Elves and Alan as King of the Fairies, though they're technically mutually responsible for both. Isilt's reputation is somewhat mixed. She was not originally meant to rule, as her father was the second-born to the throne. Not to mention, when she was younger, her parents sought peace with the humans, which severely damaged their reputation among the Fae. This damage only got worse when they were eventually betrayed by those humans, losing their lives in the process. Isilt's resentment of humans stems from both that betrayal and the fact that all her people convinced her that humans are pure evil and her parents were idiots for trusting them. Alan, by contrast, had a great childhood, and is well beloved by all for his charming personality, and he, like many fairies, is far less fervent in his dislike of humans. Their marriage was originally proposed by Alan as a way of more effectively getting Isilt into the position of queen using his popularity among the Fae. He, however, had ulterior motives for marrying her. You know those stories where the girl is engaged to a guy who only wants to marry her for power or wealth or something? Yeah, Alan's basically the opposite of that. Rather than marrying her for greater power and status, he married her because he actually likes her. Unfortunately for him, as far as he's aware, she only married him to establish better standing with her subjects, so he spent a concerningly large portion of their marriage thinking his affection is one-sided. She loves him too, as time goes on, but she doesn't really realize it until events later on in the story put the two of them at odds with one another. Isilt has a similar personality to Gale, as I have mentioned before. She doesn't lose her temper, but she doesn't have a lot of patience for people she dislikes. She's considered pretty cold, but she has an unwavering loyalty to the Fae, and when push comes to shove, she has her moral code, and on that she won't compromise. Alan is comparatively warmer in personality. His greatest flaw is he's rather inactive, especially when it comes to Isilt. Some of that is due to the fact that he grew up relatively easygoing and doesn't do well with responsibility. But, specifically as it regards Isilt, he's mostly afraid of upsetting her. He satisfies himself with simply being legally married to her without having the mutual trust and responsibility that comes with a real marriage. I actually like their relationship a lot, and while trying to summarize their characters so I could talk about them while drawing character sheets for this video, I actually managed to develop it more than I had previously. And with that, I have finished all of the character sheets I was going to make for this video, so I guess that color's us done. Thanks for watching. I know in the intro I said it was June, but I'm not posting this until basically the end of June, which means you're probably not seeing this until like July or later, so happy whatever month it is that you're watching this. And with that, stay beautiful, stay creative, and I will see you eventually. Bye!